back to another episode of Damsels After Dark. If you're new here, I'm Crystal.
And I'm Kristen.
And in our corner of the internet, we rant, review, obsess, analyze all things books.
Today we're going to be reviewing Fairydale by Veronica Lancet.
And if you're new to our episodes, we essentially do an introductory summary to the book, we give our individual ratings, and then we jump into our favorite parts, which is the spoilers section.
If you want to follow along with us, our reading and review schedule will be linked in the description below.
Without further ado,
let's
jump into it. So we're done officially with our monster romances. I think Split and Swallow was our last one.
Yeah.
Oh, we should do a recap of
I forgot, yeah.
our overall vote. So we had Alien. Oh, sorry. Let me preface this by saying at the beginning of our monster journey for February, we did a poll on if we think we could be seduced by said monster. And before we read the book, and then we'll come to our conclusion now after. There was Alien. What was after that? Oh, Gargoyle. Minotaur, and I blocked that one out.
and Basilisk. Yeah.
So Kristen and I both said, okay, it's a yes for me for the Alien. Kristen has a hard asterisk on that.
It was very, I don't know.
If the
circumstantial, yeah.
Yes, if the circumstances were as they were in The Last Hour of Gone, then
maybe,
yes,
yeah.
Maybe.
It was a big maybe. I would have to be in the predicament to decide whether or not I would. Mm-hmm. It's very difficult for me.
Gargoyle was an initial yes for both of us, but then the book was so bad it was a hard no. And again, that one is Rock Hard Gargoyle. And then we did Morning Glory Milking Farm. Yeah, which was the Minotaur.
Yeah.
That was a hard no in the initial poll, and it was a even harder no, I think, after reading about it.
Yeah, it was disgusting.
And so Basilisk we were confused.
It was determining on what would the basilisk look like and if it was a shapeshifter.
Yeah, if it had a humanoid form.
Yeah, and it does.
So yeah, I mean, if
it's a humanoid,
but it almost doesn't count because if anything could if a Minotaur could morph more into a human form, I would say yeah.
I would have been fine with anything at that point.
Yeah, so it's kind of weird on that one, but book specific, yes, but also why did I like the human more?
See, the thing is too, the basilisk. There was obviously there's a basilisk situation there, or basilisk on basilisk is whatever, but I don't know. I feel like the description of a basilisk with a human is a really weird situation, so
yes.
I didn't really like that.
Yeah. Also, for the basilisk, I was expecting a little bit more monstery.
It was, yeah.
And it really wasn't because it was just human sex, so it was normal. But even with the gargoyle, I got a sneaky tail situation.
I'm going to be fair here with that whole fucking thing. I didn't think any of those monsters were really the monster smut I was looking for.
No. They weren't really monstrous.
Yeah.
Cat.
Other than their size.
Yeah.
Not just that size, but height size and width size. They were monsters.
I wanted a monstrous personality. I wanted
the something. Rawness of it, the inhibitions, all of it. They're monsters. You would think they would have this, I don't know, unadulterated fucking, I don't know, something.
I think Cass came close to that because he sort of had that insatiable need and then also inability to keep
control of himself,
yeah, or not an inability because he did it, but a hard time keeping control. So he was there, but I was expecting where are those basilisk fangs? Why are they fucking the alien was straight biting our main character.
Yeah.
And where was the basilisk to do things like that? Where was the tail play?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, it wasn't enough.
I want you to morph a little bit into your human form and then do some stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyways, but yeah, so overall it wasn't a complete flop. I think we got some good things out of that.
It was interesting. It was entertaining. It was definitely an entertaining month.
Yeah, something different for our regular stuff. But now we are back into our normal realm.
Yeah, I'd have to say though, there is a little bit. It tells you in the content warning. So there's a lot of content warnings in this. I don't. Should I read them first before the summary? Because I don't really want to say too much of the summary. Spoilers, but content warning. So a good transition from our monster books into this one. This also has a little bit of non-humanoid is what they call it. Non-humanoid graphic sexual situations, also humanoid sexual situations. So this has smut in it. There's blood play, there's period play, there's death, derogatory terms, discrimination, drugs, graphic torture, graphic violence, infertility, kidnapping, incestuous situations, murder, rape, weapons, PTSD, and suicide. So, looking at the cover of this book, you would have never imagined all these content warnings.
Yeah.
I would have never imagined. And the only reason why I even got into this book is because I saw on TikTok, on Insta, like there were so many rave reviews about this book, and they have mentioned that they had a lot of content warnings. And I was just like, I would have never guessed.
No.
So I was interested, but I didn't really know what this book was about other than it being a dark gothic historical romance, paranormal, like fantasy elements and stuff like that. It's not a traditional love triangle. It's kind of a, that's what it says. It's not a traditional love triangle. And I think what it means by that is it's a paranormal love triangle. Is it really a love triangle? That's another thing too. I don't really want to spoil anything because it's one of those books you have to get into knowing nothing. So if you are watching us to kind of get an idea if this book is worth reading, I guess it just depends on what you want for yourself. This book is really lengthy, and it says it in the warnings that this is one of those lengthy books. It's supposed to be spanning a millennia, but that doesn't mean it's supposed to be drawn out, but that's exactly what happens. It's a drawn out book. It's meant to pretty much have a very long plot line. I'm not into that. Definitely not into that. I want a fast-paced, not drawn out plot line. If the plot line's drawn out, I want it has to be entertaining. There's a lot going on. And even though there is a lot going on, there's still a lot of dragging. And I think that's what they mean by lengthy, like, storytelling. It's like it's meant to be at a slower pace. There's supposed to be like a slow burn romance, and I'm not into any of that. So I had a hard time adjusting to that. But this is that type of book if you're looking for that.
Yeah.
If you're looking for something faster paced throughout the whole series, and if you're wanting something with a little bit more of a return every chapter, you're not going to get that. It warns you right in the beginning, so
yeah,
be ready for that. And but for the
essentially, it's just this girl. Why am I blanking on her name right now?
Darcy.
Because
there's a reason for that.
Yeah, there is. There's this girl, Darcy. She is a school teacher, and she was raised in an orphanage by some nuns. And she's out living on her own right now, and she gets a very peculiar letter that basically says, hey, we know who your birth dad is, and he died, and there's an inheritance here that you need to come and collect, but you need to be present. And so she makes the trip to go to Fairydale, which is the place where they are, and she's there, and she meets her birth family, like, because he had an affair on his wife, and she's the affair child, which is why he never came and claimed her. That's not really a big spoiler, I don't think.
No,
like the actual book.
That's right at the beginning of the story, yeah.
Yeah, and so she's there, and then some peculiar things start happening, and I can't really tell you anything more than that.
You can't. You can't.
Yeah, that's it. And like Kristen said, this is a book that spans generations and millennia.
Yeah, it's a time jumping book.
Yeah, so you're getting different POVs, which is nice. I think there's two main ones, and then towards the end you do end up getting sort of the third POV. But yeah, there's magic in here. There's otherworldly beings in here. There is lots and lots of what's the word? I don't want to say. I'm trying to say spoilers, but that's not what I'm trying to say. Surprises. There's lots of gotcha moments.
Yeah.
There's lots of twists and turns through here. So whatever you think the book is gonna be, it's really not.
Yeah. It's one of those books, just like Split and Swallow. Like, you don't know what the fuck is gonna happen. It just something else happens. Every time you think you know something else happens. I did kind of figure things out eventually, but I even had a hard time guessing what the fuck. It kept you on your toes. It was one of those books that kept you on your toes. Also, it's what's the word I'm looking for? It's not only does it have like a lot of time jumping, it really, like, I don't want to say that, no, because that's a spoiler. okay, if you've ever read the book Bespelled or Bewitched, it gives me that kind of a vibes where it. Yeah, I can't use the spoilers. Never mind. Never mind. But yeah, it definitely gives me Bespelled, Bewitched book vibes. If you've read that book and you like those books, you'll like this book. If you just felt like that book was just too much, this might be even more much because of the way the storyline goes.
Yeah, and really the main storyline that pulls you through, or at least pulled me through, is who is our main character and where does she fit within this world. And so it takes you a long time to uncover all of these mysteries because she has no idea what's going on. She has no inkling about anything, obviously, because she wasn't a part of this world growing up. So she's being thrust into this new world trying to discover the town secrets as well as her own personal background secrets. But so yeah, like we really can't give any more than that. We want to keep it still pretty vague for you guys because, like Kristen said, it is a book that you want to jump into without having any explanation.
Yeah.
So with that being said, we can just jump into our ratings. Do you want to go first since it was your pick?
Yeah, I could go first. So I gave it a 3 out of 5. I jumped back and forth with this throughout the book. Like I had a hard time. There were some parts where I was like, "Oh, this is a 4," and some parts I'm like, "This is a 3." This is a 4. It was a 3 and a 4 most of the time. And the only time I say it's a 4 is only because when there's certain instances that happen, and a certain person would show up that I actually did enjoy. I was thinking a 4, and encounters with that person gave me a 4. And then sometimes I was searching for like, ooh, this is intriguing. That gave those vibes gave me a 4. But when I really sat down and thought about it and the conclusion of the book, I was like, it's definitely a misleading book, and she tells you that too. Like the author tells you right at the beginning that this is a complex narrative with misleading information. It's meant to make you fucking go crazy and meant to make you try to figure out what the fuck is going on. And because I was intrigued by all that madness, trying to figure out what the fuck is going on, I was thinking more towards a 4. But then once that conclusion happened, I was more like, that's an interesting way to go about it. And there was one specific scene where I was just like, holy shit, that's crazy. That's wild. But that was it. Mm-hmm. After that, everything kind of just went kind of downhill for me. The story, the plot is good, but I think the execution of it kind of just didn't hit right for me. It just didn't nail it completely for me to make me feel like I really enjoyed it. I just felt like all the twists and turns, and then at the very last little bit of it, I was just like, what the fuck just happened? And now it's over. I don't know. I still feel very off about it. Mm-hmm. I still don't know what I got out. I just felt unfulfilled. I think that was the whole thing. I felt super unfulfilled, and I think it's because of all the misleading, all the twists and turns, only to end up feeling like all that for what? I guess if you like that kind of stuff, that's great. I do not. I do not like that. I feel like if you're gonna hype it up with all those twists and turns and all those oh shit, all these little misleading things, you gotta have such a drastic ending. And I felt like there was a part of a drastic ending where it was, but the very core ending did not hit. It didn't feel like it gave me that mic drop moment. I didn't get it. And I was upset about that, considering I spent a lot of time in this book. But I did judge accordingly to that, what the author said. She did hit all those points. She did warn me that this is what was going to happen. You didn't warn me about that ending being soft though. I didn't feel like the ending made up for all the shit you put me through. Mm-hmm. But it is a standalone. I think it would have been better if it was a duology. Maybe that there would have been more time to make me feel like, or with a different ending. I don't know. I just felt like it was very lengthy and drawn out, and I didn't. But that was what she was serving. So I don't know. POV switches were great. I did enjoy the POV switches. Because it's a time jumping POV switch. It's not like POV switch different person always. It's a POV. Take that back. It kind of is. I don't know how to explain it. It was good time jumps. I did enjoy the time jumps for the most part because they were at the right moment. Sometimes I don't like time jumps because they're not at the right moments. Mm-hmm. I did think that they were well timed. So there was one time jump in specific that I really want to get to, and the spoilers that I felt like hit me hard. Mm-hmm. It was a good one. I think that was probably the best time jump. So I can't wait to get into that one. The spoilers. This book went all over the place. Wild, yes. Crazy, insane. Like, be ready for that, and then it'll just jolt you, and then kind of slow you down. So I was just like, don't do that. Like, keep the pace. It didn't keep the pace. It was everywhere.
Yeah.
But overall, I did enjoy it. I wouldn't read it again. I wouldn't recommend it to everybody. I think this is I mean, all books are a very specific audience, right? I mean, but I think this is definitely a specific person I would be like to recommend this to. I don't think it was a bad book per se. It was missing a lot for me. But I think it's mostly because it's not my type of book. I think that's why. But yeah, I was left with very mixed feelings. I still am very mixed feelings about this. I am mixed feelings.
I am. That's just
very
me.
Mixed.
That's how I identify.
I think, in my opinion, Bespelled and Bewitched is better. Third book for that isn't out yet, or the novella is coming out. So if you kind of felt like this was okay but wanted something more, I would read Bespelled, Bewitched. I think that's better. I think that's better suited for our type of audience, in my opinion. You get more with that. The Spice, I gave it a 2 out of 5. I only think I only rated 2 out of 5 because I felt like there wasn't a whole lot. But we just got back from Split or Swallow, guys.
Yeah.
Okay? So that's why I rated it kind of a 2. Maybe it should have been a little higher for one scene in particular. But overall, since the book is so lengthy, it wasn't like there was a whole lot in comparison. But the Spice that was there was raunchy.
Yes.
It was descriptive, and I wasn't expecting it. I wasn't expecting this book. Even with the content warning, I was just like, yeah, right. It's like fucking cover, man.
Yeah,
that cover is really... But yeah, there's a monster scene.
Yeah.
More monster scene than the monster books we read.
It's a good transition between our monster books back into our reality books.
Yeah, but yeah, that's pretty much it for my ratings.
I like to think that I like all books, so, within reason. Okay. But I like a lengthy journey doesn't put me off. Complex narratives, those types of things don't put me off. Those are things that I like if you can execute them correctly. All that being said, I give this a 2. I did not like this book. There were aspects of this book that I did like, but not, they just couldn't hold the book up from everything else that was failing for me. For one, I was just bored out of my fucking mind. This book took me so long to read. And I just don't know, how I could be traipsing through an alien planet on a pilgrimage and not have I was into The Last Hour of Gone, and that is a long, drawn-out story.
Yeah, it was.
So don't come to me with, you just can't handle long, drawn-out stories. I was loving that book, and then I'm over here with this one, and I'm just like, there's otherworldly characters, there's witches, there's demons, there's POV, there's magic. How am I bored? How am I more bored than just pilgrimaging through an alien wasteland? I don't know.
There was moments of boredom. Sure.
But it was so boring for me. I was just not entertained at all. The author says that there's complex narrative threads here, but I don't see it. Everything felt very straightforward. I mean, the complexity for me was remembering who raped who, that gave birth to this person, and who was the mom of this. The family tree was the complexity.
Yeah.
There was really no narrative complexity. And then when you look at the story as a whole, you already knew who she is. You already knew what's going on with the main character, and all these different these two POVs, and then this other random POV at the end. I could have you already know the secret. It's just getting there, and then the extra layers you're adding on to complete the story. But all of that was pretty straightforward. I don't know what the complex narrative is that's here. At around 58% was when I was finally ooh, this is getting good.
Yes.
Maybe lingered for I don't know, 2 chapters, and then I'm back going this is so fucking boring.
Yeah, it's probably the same spot I was at.
Probably. I don't even remember.
I bet I
what the scene was.
I think I know exactly what the scene was.
I just know I was oh,
yeah.
Oh, ooh. And then after that, I don't remember anything because I was so disinterested. There are also so many, as we mentioned, surprise, gotcha, ooh, but you didn't know this. All throughout this book. It was like every couple chapters you would get another one. And I'm just going to say that like none of them landed for me. And I don't know if it was that, like, it's like the reveal was lackluster. The buildup was lackluster. I didn't care. You revealed something for me and I'm like, okay. Oh, ooh. At no point was I like, oh my god, I didn't know it was him, or I didn't know it was this.
Yeah, I didn't get that either.
I was never. I was just like, wah, wah. Also, the author did say that this was a slow burn. I am a slow burn girly, and I'm just like to say, where is the slow burn here? There's not a slow burn. A slow burn is two characters who are going to be romantically linked, who do not become romantically linked to the very end. I could see a semi-argument for how you're trying to play this off as a slow burn, but there's not, because if there's romance happening between two characters pretty soon, immediately, yeah. And then it continues throughout where's my slow burn here? So I was disappointed in that, because let me tell you, when I read her intro to this, it was saying paranormal, love interest, or paranormal sexual encounters, slow burns, incest, like all of these crazy things. Not that I'm into incest, but I'm just saying, like, she was building it up with these complex narratives and all this shit, and I was hyped for this book after reading that, not knowing anything else about it, just reading that, and I was so disappointed. Another
I see what you wrote. Oh my god, I agree, hard agree.
For the next one,
for your MMC.
Oh, okay, good. Because I thought I was going crazy. The MMC to me feels super off. He feels like he's just two random people that she smushed together, because like 1 minute he's out here fucking popping brains, popping people's bodies apart, and then the next he's like crying over, I said in my example, crying over cats. He's not really crying over cats, but that's my switch. It's like you have this character built up to be this monster, this like demons, and then he's like
the names.
Oh yeah, those. And then he's just like super soft on the other hand. And then like you could say that this is a complex character, like, oh, he has range, he has in-depth feeling. I didn't like it. It didn't feel complete to me. And then also, yes, as I put in my notes, him saying lass and darling is driving me fucking crazy.
The lass really irritated me.
And he would say, he said it during intimate times.
Yeah, I was like, why you sound like grandpa?
Like, okay, thank you. Okay, so he's like this badass, but then he's like super soft, and then he's like super grandpa-y, and I'm like, what? Who am I reading right now?
The name calling made me feel like he was way too grandpa-y.
Way too grandpa-y.
I was getting like grandpa vibes over here. I'm not your daddy, I'm your grandpa.
Yeah. Yes. Hey, lass. I hated it so, darling.
It was like how he said it too. It wasn't just like, I don't know. I guess we could get more into it in the spoilers, but yeah.
Yeah.
It was I did not like the names at all.
But the thing is I like, when we get into Elizabeth's perspective, our first time encountering our MMC, or a MMC, I liked that MMC right off the fucking bat. I was like, oh yeah, ooh, sign me up for this. And then it just slowly kept, like, it would go up and down, but again, it's just, it didn't feel like a cohesive character to me. And my final point, I would have DNF'd this. If not for this show, I would have DNF'd it. It was horrible. I think that you could have written this same story with half the amount of pages. It was just horrible. Kristen said duology, that would be better. But still...
To, highly take out a lot of stuff.
A lot.
Yeah.
It's like you just planted things in there just so you can do gotchas, but then it felt so, again, lackluster. It didn't hit for me. It was just kind of crappy all the way through. It was poorly executed, in my opinion. And again, as we already mentioned, when you zoom out from all of these complex narratives and twists and turns, the story is so predictable. It's just learning the smaller things. So again, it feels like you're just inserting some of these twists and turns for really no reason at the end. Like Kristen said, when you, I went through all of this for that, for some basic bitch shit at the end. Like, okay. So yeah, overall, just not there for me. And as I'm reading it now, I want to give it lower, but I won't. I'll stay true to my 2. I gave the spice a little bit more. I gave it a 3 because it was spicy. But for me, it wasn't icy, but I just had no interest in these characters, in any of them. So it wasn't hitting for me. I was like, okay, here's another sex scene. Oh, and you know, I want to be invested in the characters. I want to be invested in the story when I'm reading your smut. So I'm like having a good time reading it. But here I'm just like, okay. Great. And that's not how I want to be when I'm reading smut.
That's how I felt too.
Yeah.
There was a couple scenes where I was like kind of interested in, and then I was more interested in the killing scenes.
Same. And then I was super disgusted at one intimate scene. And
yeah, we're gonna have to talk about that.
Yeah, we will. That's in my hated.
Yeah.
But overall, I mean, I think no. Goodreads rated it higher than we did. They rated it almost 4. It was 3.92 out of 19,000 reviews, which is a lot.
A lot of people have read, like, this is becoming one of those, like, I don't want to say underground, but this is definitely, like, rising in the reading ranks, I would say.
Yeah.
It's crazy to me.
I am surprised. Though when I was reading some of the reviews on here, a lot of people were saying that it was above 4. So I think as more people have started reading this,
it's getting rated lower. Yeah.
Bringing it down. Excuse me. I mean, 3.92 is still pretty good. So I pulled 1 5-star and 2 1-stars, but the final 1 star is only because I thought it was fucking funny. So the first one is from Valisha, and she said, I liked everything about this book. The idea of the rebirth of souls is very well described and revealed. The world building, the feelings and the emotions of the characters, the plot twists and turns, and so on. What are the hot scenes worth? The book is about an incredible love story that will make you cry a million times, where the characters are ready to sacrifice anything for their love. You must read this book. Yeah, it is about a love story. At the core of it's a love story, which makes me even more mad because, like, this is a book that's right up my alley. But the love story was not hidden from me. I didn't care.
At one point, I kind of did, because I was kind of interested in a certain aspect of the story, but overall, I did not care. I was interested in finding out what the fuck was going on more than anything.
Yes. Because,
like, she purposely wrote, like we were talking about, she purposely wrote things in to be misleading with no actual reward at the end.
Yeah.
And because of that, I was really intrigued on that part. And then I was disappointed. So, yeah, the love story, you already kind of knew that they were in love. It wasn't a slow burn for me either, even though she kept saying it was slow burn. It was more in slow burn in my head that she was trying to aim for was a slow, like, I guess, a slow when they're reunited or reacquainted, I guess, like a slow reunited love.
Yeah.
That's how I envision it more. And so slow burn to me did not catch on this, but to be reunited.
Yeah, a slow reunitement. Because if you're a slow burn girly and you're going to this book thinking it's a slow burn, it's not.
You're waiting for that tension. There's not tension in here. I guess the tension in here is something different than what we're used to for slow burn. But I don't know. I wasn't interested in the love story per se.
No, and it's because I didn't care about, like, the MMC is great, I guess, but it's like I wasn't in love with him.
He was okay. He was fine. There was moments.
There were moments.
Yeah, there's definitely moments.
But then he would do awkward shit, and I'm like,
very. Oh my god. Yes, be prepared for that. No spoilers, but awkward as fuck, weird shit. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I would be so turned off by it.
I'm saying. And he was like 2 different people, and one of them I liked. I liked the banter. Unless you were saying lass or darling. I liked it. But yeah, it was weird.
Yeah.
Okay, so our 1-star review is from Maja Cassandra. I'm sorry if I'm saying that first name wrong. She said, couldn't finish it. Worst thing I've seen in a long time. There's absolutely no subtlety in any of the writing. Let's say there's an interaction where someone does something suspicious. That's fine. We as readers notice that. But somehow every single time the author points out this suspicious aspect, why it's suspicious, how the MC can tell, and what she will look out for. And this is just the first few chapters. It gets even worse. Like, give us some credit as readers. We can understand subtext and when given the chance. Also, the way the language is used is just so elementary. It feels like a first attempt at writing. It's a shame because I feel like the story could have been good. I butchered the shit out of that. But I 100% agree with her that the author spent way too much time trying to make things be mysterious and subtle and stuff, and like pointing our attention to it. It's like, I don't need my hand walked through a suspenseful story. Like, let me pick up on those Easter eggs, or let me miss them so that later if I like the book, I'll go back and, oh my god, I missed this the first time. I missed this subtle thing that you put in here. I missed the subtext here. But she, like Maja says, I agree that she like handheld me through this. Hey, that way he's looking is really suspicious. You should take note of that.
That is true. I agree. And I feel like that purposeful misleading, it was purposeful. That's why I say it's purposeful misleading, because it's so obvious that she's misleading you. Or it's not even it's obvious that she's misleading you. It's obvious that she's pointing out these things. Then it's like, do I pay attention to this? Is it misleading? Like, and you end up realizing it's purposeful misleading. But
Yeah.
like, I was just like, okay. In fact, it was just so much of it that I was just, I don't care. I want to know what happens only because you're purposely doing this to me.
Yes.
You know, when like somebody like constantly is doing something, you're trying to ignore it, and then eventually you paid so much attention to it. Now you're just like, okay, I want to see this happen now. You know, that's what ended up happening for me.
100%. And then you see it, and it's just lame.
You're
like,
like,
wow.
I could have told you that.
Glad you wasted all my fucking
yeah,
time
I watched
for that.
Yeah. Some clown move.
For real. The last one is from Hot Mess Summer Leary. I'm sorry, I can't read that. Caro. She said, it sucked even before the author decided to write 500 more pages. And I decided to include that because, yes, 100,000%. But yeah, so we were, of course, lower than Goodreads. But overall, it's just an absolute flop for me. And a kind of flop for Kristen.
Oh, this book? Yeah.
Kristen's already out of it. She doesn't give a shit.
I'm thinking of other things now.
She's thinking about the 5 other books she's read after this. That's how forgettable this book is.
This compared to the other books I'm reading right now, yeah. Considering I just read a really good demology, so I'm just like in my own little thoughts. But yeah, I mean, I did like some of the books, parts of the books, but I guess we'll get into that when we get into spoilers.
Yeah. Well, we can jump into them now so we can get this done and over with.
Spoilers! Okay, so do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
Just because I have some, I mean, I don't know. It looks like you have a little bit more than I do.
I think mine are just more descriptive because I don't remember the book.
Oh. I'll just say Elizabeth and Eamon's first meeting, I was into him. Oh, he was putting out the lines.
I read that same one too.
Did you?
Same first thing right at the beginning in the gardens.
Oh, oh my God, he was putting out them lines.
Yeah.
And then he goes and saves her after her husband. Like, she's out there sneaking to spy on her husband, which I liked already. Mm-hmm. Also, can I just say Elizabeth was my favorite? I don't know how they're favorites between the 3 of them, but I liked Elizabeth so much.
Yeah.
And this first interaction of meeting her and then also him, and then he's murdering this dude, and then he's like, I'll come back for you. Like, all of it was just, immediately I was him.
Yep.
My Kindle notes were going off the chart with all the shit he was saying. I was like, yes. Yep.
Lizzie's storyline was the best too.
It was,
overall, after reading it, Lizzie's storyline from beginning to end, best.
Yep, 100%.
Best. Like, her story. I could have just read a book about her story.
Yes.
That's all I cared about.
Because first of all, I hated Darcy. Darcy was so fucking annoying.
I hated Darcy too.
And then we get to Sila's, and Sila's like, oh.
And I was so excited for Sila's.
Like, the whole book is to set you up for her POV, and you're like, I mean, it was okay, but give me Elizabeth.
Just tell me Elizabeth. They should have written the story on Elizabeth, stopped it at that fucking end, and then continued in another book.
Yes. 100%.
Like, why did we do it this way? Whatever. Darcy could have fucked off.
Yeah.
I hated Darcy's story.
Yeah, she was so annoying, and she was so prude, and I get it. Like, she was raised by nuns, but like, I don't care.
There's only a few things in the Darcy story that I like, but we'll get into it.
My second one is when Eamon comes to rescue her in the library, and he kills those dudes. Like, yes! Oh my God.
Yep.
He just came in and wrecked fucking havoc with snaps of his fingers, thoughts in his head. He had some 2 dudes doing some stuff. Like, I was ready for this.
Yeah, I love that scene.
And then finally, I love when Eamon gives Sela the purple flower. I thought that was so fucking sweet. He just leaves it there. He read her mind, knew that she wanted this flower.
I think it was the forget-me-nots.
Yeah. And that's why they named it Forget-me-nots. Like, I loved that. That was great.
Yeah.
Those are the only parts that I really enjoyed of this book.
Okay, so I got a few parts. Okay, obviously the garden parts where Lizzie meets Eamon for the first time. Best.
Mm-hmm.
Oh!
Yes.
Love it. Darcy accuses Caleb of the paintings.
Oh,
the sexuals. Okay, so in her previous life, she had, I think it's with him and Lizzie.
Uh-huh.
Of course it's with Lizzie, because she's great. But Lizzie has Eamon paint her in different sexual positions so they can enjoy it together. They had a whole fucking room of their sex pictures. I fucking love it.
Yeah, me too.
They kept in a whole ass part of the wing of the house. I fucking love it. Anyways, when she's Darcy, Eamon has her think that Caleb painted her in these sexual positions. So she takes the paint. She goes to camp. She's like, "You fucking did this." Blah blah blah. He's like, "What do you think you see?" Because he's Eamon. It's like, "What do you think you see, babe? Tell me what you think you see."
Yeah.
And she's like, so bashful she doesn't say it. She ends up saying, she's like, "You painted me doing all this," and he's like, "Look at it." And it's like a landscape.
She's like, that was the one thing I liked, is her feeling like she was losing her mind.
Yes.
Like, what the fuck is happening to
That
me?
is the only reason why I like the Darcy story,
Yeah.
because of her hallucinations. She was
Yeah.
she thought all sorts of shit was happening.
Yeah.
That was the only intriguing part.
Yes.
That was what was keeping me going.
Mm.
But that part, the fucking painting part, I was cracking up. I was like, I fucking love this. I love that Eamon did it too. I already knew Eamon and Caleb were the same person.
Yeah.
I was going to, even if they didn't end up being the same person, I refused to believe it.
Yes.
I was like, nope, they're the same person. So the fact that was happening, I was like, this asshole is fucking love it.
Yeah,
I love it. I love it. I was like, this is great. That's probably the only part that I like with Darcy. We already talked about the library scene where Eamon kills all those people.
Yeah.
Because they were assaulting Lizzie. I love that Eamon pretended to be a whole ass other person to marry Lizzie.
Oh, yeah.
That was brilliant. Dude, fucking great. Smart. Where was this intelligence the rest of the book?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, that fucking was fucking great. So that he ended up being able to live with her for almost a whole ass lifespan before tragedy hit. That was fucking brilliant. I did enjoy Sela and Eamon's first meeting though, because he had a knife to her throat. That story had so much fucking potential.
Yes.
I was upset. Even the battle he had with like everybody when he met her, when like the mom was coming after them,
He turned into like some monster or whatever it's
yeah.
called. Yeah.
It just ended up hitting on a slower note. I mean, it was sad what ended up happening to Sela.
Yeah.
That they lived thousands and thousands of years together. So I guess they couldn't really go into detail like without being fucking extra more boring.
Mm-hmm.
But that first meeting though, it was so sweet. I loved it. He kept visiting her. They were kind of hiding. I love that.
Yes.
I loved that whole thing. And mom kept trying to come in and burst, and he would just be gone. Like I fucking loved it.
You know, if she would have put less time in contriving these fucking gotcha moments, she could have put more
into their
of a slow burn into their initial reactions for
Sela.
both of them, with Sela
and Lizzie.
Yeah. Darcy played out as it makes sense how Darcy's played out, but yeah, with those other two, you could have given me a slower burn.
Yeah, I mean, so those are my love parts. I did love those parts. Those parts were fucking great. They gave me the only reason for existing in this book, like liking this book at all. Those were my reason why I gave it a fucking 3 stars, because when it hit well. It's just it didn't fucking hit a whole lot. You know, I know there's parts of this book I did not like. However, I could not remember when I was writing this. So shame on me. But I'm sure in my discussion when we talk about it, I'll be like, yeah, I hate that part.
Yeah.
So
I'll give you some too.
Yeah.
When Caleb was feeding out of her hand,
fucking hated that part.
and she just allowed it. She just sat there and I feel like he was doing it consistently.
He was doing it all the time.
Yeah.
I hated it. I hated how Caleb was, even though he was Eamon.
Yo, I hated Caleb.
I was like, why is this the same? Of course, the painting part was great.
Yeah, but everything else, I hated him.
Yeah, I
absolutely did not like Caleb.
The first time they met wasn't too bad either. It was okay, but it left me to be like, that was it.
Yeah, and like Eamon had me eating out of his hand scene 1. And
I love
then I see my Caleb, and I'm like, what is this cringy ass shit that I'm reading?
Yeah, how are they the same person?
And that's how I feel about this character as a whole. It's like, I don't like you. You're just not one cohesive person. You're just fucking weird. Another one is when...
he's just straight up licking her and shit.
And he
all
licks her
the time. Like, dude, what?
And when he eats her out on her period,
oh
my god.
Who is also Eamon, though. But it's like, how can he be the same person?
And why are you... He's enjoying it. He didn't just like, oh, I'll just fiddle on the top. He was in there consuming it.
Well, he likes her blood.
He does, but...
He's Eamon.
No.
Agreed.
No.
Don't be getting your Red Wings.
Bite me. Like, drink my blood. Don't fucking consume my period blood.
You know,
I just can't.
I went
cannot.
from this book to the next book that I read, which also has period play.
Why is this a thing,
Not
guys?
period play sexually, but they need blood for other things, and I'm just like, how am I transitioning from one book to the next with these little things, the same thing?
I was noticing that too.
It's happening quite a bit.
It is, yeah.
So like the next book I read after this had period stuff where they used blood, period blood. And
Stop now, please. I don't know who's into this. I don't know who likes
making
this.
the book bad. It made sense, but
I don't know. I don't want any part of
this book though with the period blood.
Do not eat it out of me. Okay, like
agreed.
Damn, no, stop. I've never been so turned off in a scene.
I know,
such
right?
An icy scene.
Now I understand. Now I remember what scene you were talking about. Now that you mentioned that.
Yeah.
No, I didn't like this scene at all.
I also hate the big reveal. The big reveal that Eamon is the cat.
I know that too.
Like,
I thought he was controlling the cat minimum.
Yeah, but like,
he was though. That's exactly what he was. He wasn't the cat. He was controlling
in the
cat.
cat.
In the cat,
yeah.
But the cat still existed. Whereas Caleb was Eamon.
Eamon, yeah. I hated this. We knew, like, Eamon is doing something. He is the cat. He's controlling the cat. Somehow he is affecting this cat.
Yeah.
Because how are you dreaming about this cat in a past life? Can you calling it the same fucking name?
Can you please? Yeah. Can you please tell me what the name is?
Mr. Meow. Which is also fucking horrid.
Horrible.
Mr. Meow.
Fucking dumb.
I hate it. Oh my god. Okay, and the final thing that I hated is when they find Lydia in the attic of Abel's house. This was so lame. I know this was meant to be like she's alive in the house and she's been facilitating these. I don't care. I was like, this was probably the 500th gotcha moment where I'm done with it. I don't care. I thought it was so stupid. She didn't need to be alive for any of this to happen. You could have cut this entire part out of the book. It was dumb. I didn't like it. It didn't hit me at all. I just rolled my eyes like, oh, okay, here we go again. Another gotcha moment. I hated it so much. But you have a lot of things to discuss, but you said some of those might just be notes.
Most of these are just notes, but like I'm gonna throw most of these together. Okay, I'm just gonna lump them all in. The gotcha moments are mostly just the crazy moments, and what the fuck? Okay, I'm gonna say what the fuck moments. The what the fuck moments I have, the funeral scene.
Oh yeah, that one was actually pretty funny.
The fucking yeah.
I like.
Well, my what the fuck moments are my also like laughable, stupid, fucking crazy.
Yeah.
I was just like, what the fuck shit was happening? The funeral where her dad just comes out of the coffin after she knocks it over, and then he like blurts out after he calls her a hussy. His guts start coming out of his mouth, and he explodes. That's crazy.
Yeah.
The will reading.
Yes.
They all just start attacking each other. Caleb's somehow there, which he's not supposed to. I don't fucking know about that one. I wrote that Caleb was there, but I don't know how Caleb could be there. I don't know. Don't fucking know. But yeah, they all start attacking her, and then after she finds out she has to be there for 2 months to get $1 million. Whatever. That was a fucking weird situation.
Yep.
Also, where am I? The best crazy like oh shit moment for me was Elizabeth's mom killed Eamon.
Yes.
Not killed him. Let me get this right. She shot him, and that was the end of the chapter, and it was like lengthy.
Yes.
Lengthy before you find out what the fuck happened to him. She was devastated. I was devastated.
Yeah, I was devastated.
I was like, that was probably the craziest moment for me out of the whole book. That was the only part where I had feels that were just like, get me back. Get me back.
Yes.
What are we doing here? Because none of this matters. Put me back. And she tried going to sleep.
Yes.
I was like, go sleep. She even said she tried. So I was like, so yeah, that was probably my biggest what the fuck moment that had me in my feels.
Yeah.
I was all over the place with that.
Yeah, because that Elizabeth storyline is great, and this was after she's like her mom's like, you need to stay away from him. He's bad for you. Like he's a demon. Like you can't. And then she's like, well, I'm gonna go on a picnic, and he makes this whole beautiful picnic for her. Like it was such a special moment. It was shock. It was like cut short.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, it was sad.
Devastated. The other crazy what the fuck moment, it's a twofold. Her grandmother, her real grandmother, shows her a video of her being raped in her previous life by Eamon, which isn't true.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but that's where she goes and gets eaten out by Caleb.
Which is
what?
Fucking weird.
Right
yeah.
after that, she's like,
Yeah.
I gotta rub everything, I gotta clean my skin, but I'm gonna get eaten out by this guy. What? Anyways, not to like at the very end, close to the end, she finds out. Well, she never believed. I mean, she did for quite a little bit, but then she's like, no, Eamon would never do that. Okay, so now she knows Eamon would never do that. But then, like, the real story was even fucking crazier.
Yes. That was probably the one twist of this
Yeah,
book that
I was not
like,
expecting that.
oh, this is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
But again, this is the end of Elizabeth's storyline, which is the only good one.
The
and
only
this was
good
great.
story. Yeah.
The like betrayal, that is a good story. But
that was great.
You know, if you put all of Elizabeth's story together, it's maybe like 200 pages.
Yeah, and you know what? I would have just read that. And then
yeah.
You could have transitioned to like a short part of Darcy. Like, you could have done this book well. I think it was the execution, like I said before. It was how they organized it into the story. You didn't need to do misleading. You could have, this story would have held up well on its own without doing a misleading fucking
mystery
fucking,
chase. Scooby-Doo chase.
You did. Right. It wasn't for you pesky kids. So true. But yeah, so like that Lizzie story at the very end, that was like a what the fuck crazy moment for me. Seela dying at the hands of a friend kind of upset me. I was like, because you're talking about infertility. So if you have issues with infertility, that might upset you. Like, she was trying to get pregnant and she went somewhere to get, because her mom fucked her over. So she was trying to get pregnant and they thought this person could help them and they thought they had a chance. They had all this hope. I mean, that was very sad.
It was very sad.
I was sad for her because all she wanted to do was be a mom.
She was just slowly withering away.
And then she was just dying.
Yeah.
And I was like, and Eamon had to watch this.
Yeah.
That story was fucking upsetting. But I was like, even though it was upsetting, and you know it was upsetting just reading about it, it was upsetting because of the situation. It wasn't upsetting because how it was being told to me. I would have been upset if someone would just been like, hey, this happened. You know, like without the intricate details of the descriptions.
Yeah.
It was sad in that. So if you have like issues with infertility and that might be upsetting for you. But I mean, it was upsetting just to read, and I didn't have infertility issues. It's just like, that's horrible for anybody.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that was pretty much the end of my things to discuss. I actually have one more thing, actually. The monster sex.
Yeah, that was something else.
Yeah, crazy. It was more monster sex than the monster books we had, because like he was clawing at her, he was licking her blood after gently clawing at her. He would do all sorts of things to her. Used her tail. Like, he was actually getting kinky with his tail.
Yes.
Like, this is the tail sneak that I was looking for.
I liked Eamon when Eamon was being this.
Eamon?
Yeah, when he was being
Eamon was being Eamon.
When he was not being anything, like when Lizzie first like has sex with him on the table and he chains himself, like that Eamon, who's like has to control himself because he's a monster down below. Like that, I fucking love that. So in the monster scene, I was like, I'm here. This is great. But again, I had like no emotional connection because he still like gave me the ick a lot. Yeah. Yeah, those are like the two personalities, really. It was just Eamon and Caleb. And Caleb's ick just ruined it all for me. But yeah, the monster scene I thought was good because I feel like we were missing a lot.
Yeah, we got it there. Also, can you imagine being pregnant for 24 months?
Oh my god, fuck no.
There's a 24
I would
month
die.
gestational period.
No, hard pass.
Because he's a monster.
Yeah. Because
now she's giving birth to a monster. It's like, wow. 2 years. That kid's coming out like a teenager.
Yeah, no. Thank you. The one thing that I have to discuss is I find it was like a what the fuck moment for me. Yeah. But when Seela and Eamon are going around and they're looking for they end up finding the dude and the girl, I don't remember their names, who were part of the torture of Seela when she was a girl. And they find them at this party, and they just turn into like, it's giving me like Hunting Adeline vibes when they were both in the room with them, and Eamon's torturing one, she's electrocuting the other one.
Oh, yeah.
And they're like into it. They're like looking at each other like, yeah, let's fuck these guys up. I'm like, what is this story?
With her lasso, that's right. Her lasso, electricity.
Yeah, and she like burned the girl. Like, it was gnarly. It was a good scene, but I was just so taken aback by it because nothing about this story had led up to this.
Yeah.
Except for this moment. Like, there was no inkling that Elizabeth was, like, interested. I mean, even though this is Sela, same person. That this person was interested in like torturing and ravaging people. But she was enjoying herself. I was like, oh, okay, we're doing this now.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I forgot about that scene.
Yeah, it was weird. I mean, it was like kind of a throwaway scene, but
It
also,
was very random.
I did like the idea of Sela's mom like testing the bounds of her powers, like doing all this kind of torture and stuff. Like,
Yeah, I thought that was interesting too. They never really explained why she was called Lady Luck, though.
no,
I kind of wish they but then again, I don't need another fucking chapter of nothingness for her to explain it to me.
yes,
But like he even hints at Amon's like, you don't even know what your mom's capable of, do you? And it's like, she kind of did.
yeah,
She kind of did, but like you didn't know that at first.
yes,
You didn't know that at first until like I would have never guessed that she did that to her daughter until like they were getting closer and closer to explaining that. Yeah, I was tortured. She kept that hidden really well for a little bit.
yes. And I should have put it down as one of my like moments, but now that I'm remembering it, I love when she is telling him about it and he's like freaking out. He's like taking a breath. He's like, okay, continue.
Yeah.
And then she said more, and he was like, who did it? When did they do it? What's their names? What's this? Like berating her with questions. Like his freak out about it. I enjoy.
Because you can't imagine that that's what was happening.
Especially for
no
her
idea.
as a girl.
Yeah.
Like she was not an adult.
Because she was
a child.
like, she's like, oh, you can cut off a limb and it'll grow back. He's
Uh-huh.
like, the fuck?
How do you know that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you can drown me for 24 hours and my lungs will regrow.
Yeah. And she's saying it like nothing's wrong too.
Yeah.
Like I don't think she realized. I think she knew she was being tortured, but I don't think she realized the extent of how bad it was. And he would have to tell her like, this shouldn't have fucking happened.
Yeah.
And,
No, let's go kill everyone who was a part of this, which I loved. But yeah, overall, I think we can agree there is a good structure here, but the execution was just not there.
No.
Like it was too much emphasis, I feel, on trying to be misleading and trying to create these mysteries. It's almost like the author was insecure about her book, that she felt like she needed to fluff it up with all this nonsense. But like, honesty, as Kristen said, like your book could have stood on its own with just these stories without all this nonsense bullshit.
Yeah.
Give me Elizabeth. Give me Darcy to the extent that I need her.
The beginning of Sela.
And the beginning of Sela.
And the end, because you need the end.
Yeah, but like, get rid of the rest of the Scooby-Doo bullshit. I don't need it.
I did not like that.
Mm-mm.
I didn't like the misleading shit. I hate that shit. It's almost the equivalent of a miscommunication trope.
Yeah.
I fucking hate misleading information, and I hate, unless it's part of the story where it's meaningful. Like, they have this person that is like a spy, and they're trying to like, but that's not what's happening.
No.
You know?
It just felt unnecessary.
It was unnecessary.
But yeah, so
Yeah, it fell flat. Like I said, I gave it a 3 because I didn't absolutely hate it. I know you said you hated the book. I didn't absolutely hate it because there was some really good parts that I enjoyed, and it did entertain me for a good chunk of the book. But yeah,
bored is what I would say about this one. Boring. On to the next.
I would not recommend it to anyone.
No, I would not.
I recommend it to my friend that I work with because I make her read everything I do, but so we can talk about it.
But yeah, if you're watching us to get any recommendation or to know our opinion on whether or not we would recommend this, it's a hard no. Nope, I wouldn't read this. Don't waste your time, especially for how big this fucking book is.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Holy shit. But anyways, our next book I'm excited for. This is another one of Kristen's picks. For no real reason. We're just looking for books.
Yeah. I did enjoy this book, though. I'm just going to throw it out there real quick. It's part of a trilogy. The third book comes out... Well, it should be out by the time... Well, no, maybe not. March 18th. Mm-hmm. March 18th, the third book comes out called The Rival Crown. So there's The Veiled Kingdom, The Hunted Heir, and The Rival Crown. Rival Crown comes out the 18th, so if you want to be one of those people who don't want to read a book that's incomplete or a series that's incomplete. Yeah, we don't like doing that either. So we will always start books that are completed series, and this is one of those. I do have to warn you though, it's not necessarily the best trilogy. I'm just gonna throw it out there now. But if you want something that's entertaining, this isn't a bad first read.
Well, I'm excited.
Yeah,
I'm hoping.
I really hope you like this first one.
Me too.
I like the first one, but I don't want to say anything.
It feels like this season's been grim. I don't even know. Have I had a 4-star? Oh, The Last Hour of Gone was a 4-star, but I wouldn't be like. I think I rated that 4. maybe 3.5. I don't remember.
To be fair, I just read my first 5-star not that long ago. So.
Okay, because I'm just like, what is happening?
Yeah, I mean it's the end of February and I just got my first 5-star. So I'm like, and I'm like I said, I'm reading 100 books. I think I'm at 17 books right now, and I've only just got my first 5-star. 17 books.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of books.
I feel like we're just hovering around 2 to 3.5.
Yeah.
And so nothing's been great. It's the highest we've reached is this is good. This is okay. It's good.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I'm hopeful for the Veiled Kingdom. Hopefully, it's our first series too. Because
it's our first series this year. Yeah.
Okay, first series, Veiled Kingdom. So if you follow along with us, you will catch that third book right around release date because we'll be reviewing it. I believe that we'll have that the next Friday is when our video will be out.
Yeah.
So yeah, anyways, if you want to follow us, you can follow us on all the socials. We're on Instagram. Why can't I think of any of the social medias right now?
I don't remember.
We're on Instagram. It's Spotify. That's the S I was looking for.
Amazon Music, blah, 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 blah.
And of course on YouTube.
Yeah, so if you don't want to miss anything, like and subscribe so you can follow along with us.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.